Patoka Lake, heading toward Youngs Creek here in the next couple of minutes. This tornado warning in effect for at least the next 20 minutes. So we'll put the velocity on so we can see exactly what we have going across the radar with this very quick moving storm, that even if there's not a tornado out there, it's still possible that we get some damage going because of the very strong wind that this storm is capable of producing. So again, if you are in Du Bois County or over in the Paoli area here in Orange County, that includes Patoka Lake, you need to be getting into your safe spot away from windows and doors. So it's been a while since we've had some severe weather, so just a few quick reminders. You do want to be going to the lowest level of your home, preferably the basement. I know a lot of folks don't have basements, but just whatever that lower level is, if it's all one level, then the most interior level of your home is where you're going to be the safest, the farthest away as possible from any windows and from any doors, basically any entrance to the outside. Now, it's too late at this point if you are in a mobile home to actually go outside, so you just want to make sure that you're actually staying in the most interior area that you can possibly find if you are in a mobile home. And then also you want to have those first aid kits. You want to have that predetermined place that you go for your safe spot, and making sure that we're not waiting until the actual warning is issued to tell your family and then bring your pets and whatnot where exactly you're going to go. So you want to have that plan in place before an actual warning is issued. So even if you're not in the tornado warned area, I recommend that you go ahead and make that plan with your family. Go ahead and put some blankets in the area so you folks are comfortable, and of course don't forget those pets as you're heading out to the safe spot. So while we're on this subject, I'll show you who else is involved on this tornado watch. Again, the watch just means the ingredients are in place for a storm to produce a tornado. Watch just means that we need to be staying weather aware because a tornado would be possible into the next several hours with this severe threat. It's going to run until about 5 o'clock in the morning. In addition to the tornado threat, though, we do have the damaging wind threat, where we could see wind gusts approaching about 70 miles per hour, which could certainly do some damage. We've also been watching a whole lot of lightning, heavy rain, and some smaller hail thus far, but these storms will be at least capable of producing up to golf ball sized hail. So pretty much every mode of severe weather is on the table, and this tornado watch is going to go into effect, or is in effect now, until 5 o'clock in the morning. That includes all of our southern Indiana counties and the Louisville Metro, as well as the surrounding counties. So if you're watching from Brandenburg, you're included in this warning. Taylorsville, Shelbyville, and Newcastle, everybody that I just listed off included in this watch, I should say, the tornado watch, and that we need to be staying weather aware. And what you can do if you're outside of this warning right now, outside of the tornado warning that's shaded in red in Du Bois and Orange County, is being prepared and making sure that you have that planned and designate your safe spot before a warning is issued for your location. Going back to radar so we can see exactly what the storm is doing in the tornado warned location, as again, this is a very quick moving storm. So we'll continue to get the most up-to-date information with every radar scan. So the storm is now approaching French Lick down to Patoka Lake as it's racing off to the east at 45 miles per hour. We'll put a track on it again. If you don't live here, but say you know a few folks that do, you have friends and family that live out there, potentially give them a call, make sure that they woke up. That's one of the difficulties of having severe weather at night, because a lot of folks are going to sleep. They're potentially not waking up to the warnings that are going off, and maybe forgot to turn their phone on loud, so they're trying to sleep through it, but they do need to be in their safe spot at this time, as this tornado warning is currently in effect. So near Flick School here in the next couple of minutes, Low School shortly thereafter, right before 12:50. 1254 near Ethel, 1256 right before the top of the hour. If you're in any of these spots that I'm mentioning off, including Pine Valley, you need to be getting in your safe spot. If you're anywhere around there, make sure you're getting to the lowest spot of your home, away from windows and doors. On this latest scan, we did just see a little bit of a hail core developing that's just to the south of Crystal, so it potentially is telling me that the storm is strengthening a little bit and probably dropping some hailstones out there as well. There's about a little more than a dozen lightning strikes that I'm seeing, but as we zoom in here closer so we can see where that hail core is wanting to set up, right over the Ellsworth neighborhood and then continuing off to Patoka Lake, again just in that last radar scan that we just showed you here. Other folks that are included in the tornado warning that's currently in effect, Patoka Lake, we have the Norton area. You have very heavy rainfall over top of you right now. Kellerville also included in this tornado warning. Trying to get down to ground level so we can get a few more areas included in this. Again, Norton, this is near the Norton area, Hillam area as well. You are included in this tornado warning that's in effect at least until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Du Bois Crossroads included in this tornado warning, although it does appear that the worst part of the storm is past you. We still need to be staying in our safe spot, as this is still a dangerous storm and capable of producing a tornado. As we take a look at the wider view here, you can see just how big this line of showers and storms is, and as it's just now beginning to even approach our WHAS11 viewing area here. So we have several more hours of these showers and storms that are going to be pushing into the area. So while I'm on that topic, we'll go ahead and take a look at Futurecast, this is pretty much what we're seeing outside right now as those storms are moving into Orange County. And then we just saw the worst part of the storm pass by the Bedford area. We'll continue to put things in motion and watch the next couple of hours as I expect these storms to continue to propagate off to the east over the course of the overnight hours. So they're really mainly going to want to favor areas in southern Indiana, at least for the near term. So I'd say for the next hour or so. However, Louisville proper and all of our surrounding counties here, including the Shelbyville and Shepherdsville areas, need to be staying weather aware. Just because you're not seeing anything outside right now doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be in the clear all night long. So have several ways to receive any warnings if they are issued. It's just going to take some time for those storms to actually be reaching you, but I still expect Scottsburg, Seymour, North Vernon, and Madison to get in on these storms a little bit later on this evening, and then it'll start to fill in over the other side of the Ohio River here on the Kentucky side around Jefferson County, Shepherdsville area. Newcastle also is not out of the woods here, as we're probably just going to be the latter half of the overnight hours to see this severe threat. Some of these storms could hang on until about 5:30 in the morning. Just a few of those stragglers could, but I'd say the vast majority of us waking up tomorrow morning are going to be waking up dry, even seeing a little bit of sunshine. All of these storms associated with a cold front, so it's actually going to bring us a decent day for our Monday, but we do have to get out of the woods tonight first before we can talk, of course, about the good news. So this main timing that with these severe threats that we're watching right now, from right now until 5 o'clock in the morning, we need to be staying weather aware and having those multiple ways to receive the warnings, as we have several of them out there at this point. And also it's a good idea to have at least 2 ways to receive any sort of alert that's near your location or near family and friends, so you can give them a call. In addition to the tornado threat, we have damaging wind. We could see damaging wind up to 70 miles per hour. Also saw a few reports near Jasper of some power outages there, probably because of straight line wind damage. Heavy rain, we're seeing a lot of that across the radar right now. We're even seeing some flood advisories and flash flood warnings because of just how much rain these storms have been dumping. Frequent lightning, we're also seeing a lot of electricity in the sky, and hail, as we just showed you that hail core that was on the storm developing in Du Bois, and that's also where we have the tornado warning Okay, it does actually look like that we've allowed the tornado warning that was in Du Bois County to expire, as the rotation in the storm is now over Orange County, and this includes French Lick and Paoli. Also, folks that are just directly to the south of French Lick, stretching down to Youngs Creek, you're included in this warning until 1 o'clock. So if you are in Du Bois County, you are no longer in this tornado warning, but you're likely still seeing some heavy rainfall as this line of storms races on through. Still appears to be moving at 45 miles per hour, which is rather quick, so it's moving at least at a pretty good clip, but as it does so, it's bringing a whole lot of wind, especially on that leading edge. That could potentially be the most damaging part of the storm. Because the wind could do just as much damage as a weak tornado could. So I'm just updating myself here quickly on what the National Weather Service is saying in the chat to make sure we're seeing the same sort of thing on radar, and get myself acquainted with what the meteorologists over at the National Weather Service in Louisville are thinking as well. So we just had a report of 55 mile per hour gusts that was just reported in Du Bois County. So that's exactly what we're seeing on radar here. Some very strong wind, right around 55 miles per hour. And then also we had some power outages that were reported in the Ireland area. Power reported out in Jasper as well. So we're seeing several reports of wind likely being the cause for the power going out, and straight line winds. So even if you don't have a tornado warning in your location, we still need to be taking care and keeping up to date with the forecast and exactly what's going on out there, staying away from windows and doors as this storm approaches you, because the vast majority of our area in southern Indiana is going to be seeing the storm at some point in the night. As you can see, the storm is propagating off to the east, and how that storm, or right near Patoka Lake, you can kind of see that line that's starting to bow out a bit, bringing some very strong winds with it as it continues to race off to the east at 45 miles per hour. So it does look like we are going to continue this tornado warning at least until 1 o'clock this morning. It is now 12:52, so we have it for at least 8 more minutes, and it'll probably outrun that warning at that point. So unclear at this point if we're going to go ahead and extend it a little bit farther on out to the east or not. There's not been any talk about that at this point. But right now, if you are in the Paoli area, French Lick, you need to be in your safe spot, as there is a tornado warned storm right over top of you. Okay, it looks like we are going to continue that tornado warning that was just issued, and this is now going to include Salem, Indiana. So from Paoli over to Campbellsburg, over and then stretching all the way back to the east in Salem, you are now included in this new tornado warning. It is radar indicated, but once again, I do want to remind you, it's because it's nighttime, we're not going to be able to see an actual tornado out there. It makes it incredibly difficult with the heavy rain as well to actually pinpoint a tornado. So we need to be treating it as though there is an actual tornado on the ground. Still looks like it's moving off to the east at 45 miles per hour, and that strongest part of the storm right over Paoli at this point. So we're going to continue to stay on the air with you as long as this threat is still present, which it is if you are around Paoli, stretching over to Salem. That's where that new tornado warning has just been issued. So Campbellsburg, you're included in this, and it will continue. I know it's not even raining there, but it is going to start shortly, and we have torrential rainfall with this storm. Just a moment while my producer, what were you saying? Okay, let's go ahead and pull up the camera in French Lick. And okay, we're going to be pulling up the French Lick Resort, and that's, yeah, heavy downpours, just torrential rainfall out there. And this is exactly why we're talking that it's very difficult to nearly impossible to actually see a tornado in the dark in these torrential downpours out there. It just makes it not only dangerous, but nearly impossible to actually see the tornado. So that's why, if there is a tornado, that's why we need to at least be treating it as though there is. Now, even if there's not a tornado, we're still dealing with a lot of wind, a lot of lightning as well, and even a little bit of hail. It does look like that at this point the hail core is no longer present on this storm, but even still, we are dealing with quite a bit of wind with this storm. So we'll go ahead and take a look at velocity once again and see what the storm is doing, and we're going to actually switch exactly what we're looking at here so we can get a better look at the storm that is at this point tornado warned over the Paoli area. And once again, we need to be staying in our safe spot. If you're watching, you can still watch from your phone. You don't need to be watching on your TV if it's not in the lowest level of your home. Just simply because you need to be staying away from any windows, away from any doors. Just stay in the most interior place that you have inside of your home or your mobile home. If you're outside of those warnings, be sure to be charging your cell phone at this point. So just in case a warning is issued, you have a way to receive those alerts. And if you know anybody that's in the tornado warned area, try to give them a call, because perhaps maybe they're not waking up to the warnings that are out there at this point. So just give them a call maybe a couple of times so that they can go ahead and get to their own safe spot. Hopefully you have a weather radio close by, maybe some extra batteries, always some good preparation there. And then you always want to designate a safe spot. Make sure your entire family knows where that safe space is. And it's a good idea just to keep a first aid kit in there at all times so that whenever we do encounter these situations, it's already in there. You have the blankets. It may sound a little bit silly, but it's nice to have a helmet down there as well. I know I have helmets for my kids in our safe spot down into the basement, and we just leave it down there for if this situation were to ever arise and a warning was issued over your community, you're already all set. You want to cover up with those blankets, with the pillows, anything to block potential debris that could get in. And then the severe weather safety kit, we like to call it, which includes a first aid kit, the flashlight, candles, just in case you lose power. And of course, you want to already have had that cell phone charge. So preparation is always a good thing to do beforehand so that you're not kind of freaking out right before the storm is actually in your location. Okay, we're going to zoom out here and see exactly what we're looking at, as we still do have the tornado warned storm over the French Lick area in Orange County, and then also extending out to Salem, Indiana at this point. And I'm going to get some more information on the French Lick area. That again, the tornado warning, it says that it expires at 1 o'clock, which is in just a couple of minutes. However, I'm trying to see if a tornado has actually been confirmed there. Okay, it has. So there is a tornado on the ground near French Lick, Paoli area, Greenbrier, French Lick Municipal Airport, Youngs Creek, and Braxton's Siding. I'll repeat that. There is a tornado on the ground as we speak, and you need to be in your safe spot right now. You need to be in the basement, an interior room, lowest floor of a sturdy building. Stay away from those windows and call your friends if you have anybody, know anybody, family members, friends, teachers, whoever that's in that area. There has been a confirmed tornado in the French Lick, Paoli area, and that's this polygon that we're watching right now as it moves off to Pine Valley. So you folks also need to be taking shelter. As that storm continues to move on off to the east, Chambersburg is included in that. So you also need to be in your safe spot at this point. And so they're probably going to let this warning that is around the French Lick area, because the storm has already moved out of your area and is moving so quickly, they're probably going to let that expire here in 1 minute because it is now 12:59, but they've went ahead and expanded that tornado warning to include Salem, because that's where we're seeing the rotation at this point. Again, racing off to the east at 45 miles per hour. So it does appear that they went ahead. Yes. Okay. So if you are in the Patoka Lake area or French Lick, the storm has now outrun you and you no longer have that tornado warning. However, it's still in the Paoli area, and we're having the rotation just out ahead of Paoli, heading toward the Livonia area, over top of Chambersburg at this point, headed toward Rosebuds as well. We'll go ahead and put a track on it, as I know many of you folks that are included in this warning, especially in Washington County, are really not seeing much of anything at this point, but because the storm is moving so fast, it is going to be here pretty quickly. So the tracker is showing us at 107 near Rosebud, Beck's Mill 111, 112 to Hitchcock, and then 116 to Salem. So you have a couple of minutes, but don't wait until the last minute, because you see on every scan just how quickly that storm is racing off to the east, and we're likely to just keep this tornado warning on it and continue to follow the storm with it, at least in this location, as it continues to push on off to the east. So we'll kind of take the wider view so you can see if you're eventually going to be in the path of this storm. This particular part of the storm is where it's actually bowing out and contains the strongest wind and is containing the tightest rotation, which is what we look for whenever there is a tornado warning on a storm. So if you're near Henryville, Scottsburg, if this storm continues to move off to the east, how it is now, then it'll be in your location here very shortly. Again, moving off to the east at 45 miles per hour. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for Palmyra. This includes English, Indiana, Leavenworth, stretching down to Corden, likely because of very strong wind. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. Again, includes the Corden area until 1:30. It is now 1:02 in the morning, and yes, so the storm is even speeding up a bit. It's now moving off to the east at 55 miles per hour. Now includes English, Indiana. You're getting probably some of the strongest wind of this so far, moving toward Palmyra. Palmyra, I know you're not seeing much of anything at this present moment, but it is moving very quickly, and you need to be getting in your safe spot. Also includes the town of Marengo, Milltown, Borden, and Greenville. You have that severe thunderstorm warning. And then just to the north of there, we have the tornado warning. Let me go ahead and take that tracker off so we can see this a little bit clearer, and then we'll make the radar still. So the tornado warning at this point over Paoli still includes you folks in Paoli, includes you folks in Campbellsburg and Salem, as well as Livonia. This is going to continue to race on off to the east. Just south of there, though, we have the severe thunderstorm warning, so I'd still recommend that you're in your safe spot, even if you're outside of that particular tornado warning. If you don't have any active warnings, we still do have the watch for all of southern Indiana here, and this also includes the Louisville Metro and our counties around it. So if you're watching from Brandenburg over to Taylorsville, Shelbyville, or Newcastle, all you folks are also included in this tornado watch. So even though there's no active warnings at this point, you still have that threat of potentially seeing a storm spin up a tornado into the next couple of hours. This threat, I'm thinking, is going to last about until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, and not just with that threat of tornadoes, but we could see damaging wind gusts up to about 70 miles per hour. As I mentioned, we did have some power outages near the Jasper area, also Ireland, because of likely the very strong wind that's embedded in these thunderstorms. Frequent lightning, something that we've been tracking pretty much all day with these storms. Heavy rain has caused a bit of flooding, mainly outside of our area, but it is dumping a lot of rain over the same spot and causing a few issues here and there. So we don't have any active flash flood warnings, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did get one, particularly in the Bedford area where that storm was very slow moving. Hail is also a threat as well, even though it hasn't made itself a huge issue just yet. Still think that these storms will be capable, at least, of producing some hail. So we're going back to radar so we can track the tornado warning that we currently have in effect for at least 15 more minutes as they continue to move off toward Campbellsburg. It's almost to you and to Salem. So you can see just how quickly this is moving on our Max HD radar here as it's continuing to race off to the east at 55 miles per hour. So it has actually gained a bit of speed in the last couple of radar scans. So we'll try to get down closer to ground level so we can see who else is included in this warning. So this includes the Prowsville neighborhood over to Beck's Mill and Rosebud. It's almost to you. You need to be in your safe spot at this minute. So we'll put another tracker on it and even bring it out a little bit farther than the actual warning that we're seeing out there right now, because we will likely continue to see this tornado warning expand on out to the east. So we'll just put a quick little tracker, move it out to all the way out to New Liberty. So if you're watching from Hitchcock, it's right over top of you. At this point, you're likely going to hear the wind howling out there and seeing the sky light up with all of that lightning and just torrential downpours. South Boston, it'll be near you in less than 10 minutes. But again, these are just estimates. So we need to just go ahead and get in the safe spot at this point. 121 headed toward New Liberty as it approaches the west side of I-65, the tornado warned storm that is. But we also have that severe thunderstorm warning that's just to the south of you folks in Paoli. So that includes English, Corden included in the severe thunderstorm as well, Leavenworth and New Salisbury and Palmyra areas. So we'll go ahead and track out exactly when the worst part of that storm is going to be reaching you as well. So at this point it is 1:06. It's going to be near you in Fredericksburg in just about 2 minutes. Palmyra by 1:13, 1:20 Greenville, 1:26 Corden, and then 1:30 in Lanesville. So if you are included in this severe thunderstorm warning, I would also suggest that you're getting in your safe spot. Don't wait until you actually start to hear those rumbles of thunder or hear the very heavy rainfall. Go ahead and get in your safe spot. Make sure that you have water with you, bringing it down to the basement if possible, grabbing your family. Don't forget your pets either as you're going down into your safe spot. It's a good idea to have blankets and as well. Make sure perhaps have you a cell phone charger so you can keep your cell phone charged. If you are just joining us, we have an active tornado warning for Orange and Washington, parts of Orange and Washington counties until 1:15. So for at least 12 more minutes here. This includes Salem, Indiana, as the worst part of the storm is approaching you. Campbellsburg, it's right over you at this point. Paoli, the worst part of the storm is past you, but it's still, you're seeing torrential downpours out there still and very strong wind, and there's a lot of lightning. So I'd recommend just remaining in your safe spot even after they go ahead and push this warning farther on out to the east. As we zoom in here a little bit closer, Beck's Mill, you're included in this warning still. Hitchcock, you're about to see the worst part of this storm as well. And even outside of the tornado warning, we have Canton, South Boston, Farabee, and New Philadelphia and New Salem in Washington County, because the storm will continue to move to the east as we've seen on this radar loop over the last 2 hours. We'll actually make the radar loop a little bit a shorter period, it lasts 30 minutes here. Because you can really see how it started to bow out and the wind has really picked up. So even if you don't have a tornado, you're going to have a lot of wind approaching you on the leading edge of this line of storms. Quite a bit of lightning around the Mitchell area too. Brownstown, we have a little bit of lightning picking up, so that's showing me that the storm's intensifying a bit. Seymour, Indiana, just seeing some rain at this point, but it is going to start to pick up quite a bit in the next couple of minutes. You see where those greens are over top of you at this point. Then here in the next couple of minutes, the rain is going to really start to pick up. Crothersville starting to see some rain showers as well as we are at 1:09 in the morning on this early Monday morning. So looking back toward Jasper, where I know there was a few reports of power outages, still looks like we have some more rain showers coming. You may get a brief break of the very heavy downpours, but there's still some more coming as we take a look at the larger view. This is stretching down to South Illinois, so a line of showers and storms from Indianapolis down to Salem. That's where we have the tornado warning at this point, and then back toward off to the west, Carbondale, Illinois. So you can see just how large this entire line of showers and thunderstorms is. So if you're just joining us, we'll go back to Futurecast and show you kind of the timing and map out when it's going to be in your neck of the woods. So this is essentially what we're seeing out there right now as the storms are really just affecting our southern Indiana counties, but slowly but surely we'll start to see those storms spread out and move to the other side of the river here into the overnight hours. So at around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll start to see some of those storms approach Louisville proper and continuing into the very early morning hours of our Monday. A few storms could linger into about 5:30 tomorrow morning, but I'd say the majority of us are going to be waking up dry and that threat will be done. But of course, we're going to continue to track it as long as we still do have that severe weather threat, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. So I really encourage you, if you're outside of any of these warnings, make sure that you're prepared. You're having 2 ways to receive alerts, at least 2 ways, that is. So whether it's a phone or your weather radio, making sure that you have extra batteries on hand is a good idea as well, because not just a tornado threat, but damaging wind. We could see wind up to 70 miles per hour, which of course could knock out your power and cause just as much damage as a weak tornado could. Torrential rain, that's really what we're seeing out there right now. Frequent lightning as well as hail with these storms. So all modes of severe weather are on the table for us as we're tracking this several hours long severe weather event, which is unfolding right now. You can see just how much lightning, which I'm actually going to turn on the lightning counter so we can see how much lightning we've been having with these storms, because it's really lighting up the sky. Just in this last radar scan, you can tell how much lightning there is by looking at our max HD radar. So that doesn't appear to be working for me at this point, so that's okay. We'll go back to the active tornado warning that we have for at least a couple more minutes. Paoli, you're still included in that. Campbellsville also still included in this tornado warning. Salem is just about to approach you here in the next minute or two. And so I'm going to go check the computer and see if we're going to be expanding this tornado warning on off to the east, or if we're going to let it expire. But nonetheless, Salem, you're still included in this warning. It's right over top of you at this point, the storm is, I should say, and then moving toward Canton in the next couple of minutes. 118 to South Boston, and then 120 to Polk School, moving off to the east at a pretty good clip at 55 miles per hour. This is the only tornado warning we have at this point, but we do have a pretty large area that has the severe thunderstorm warning, which is just to the south of the area that I'm showing you now as we zoom out here a bit. It includes Palmyra, Cordon area, English, Indiana included in the severe thunderstorm warning. Mainly that storm is warned because of the very strong straight line wind gusts that we are seeing out there. 60 miles per hour wind is what the radar is actually estimating. So I'm just checking the computer to see if we are going to continue that tornado warning and potentially extend it on off to the east or not. So I'm just getting caught up on the computer with the National Weather Service here in Louisville. They're the ones that send out those alerts. We're not really seeing a whole lot of chatter on there. So we're going to continue to cover until we see that the threat has passed. And if you're just joining us, we have an active tornado warning for Washington County. Paoli, the worst part of the storm, has already passed you. French Lick, the worst part of the storm, has passed you as well. But if you are still watching from Salem, you are still in the line of the the potential tornado here. Polk School, Canton, you're included in this tornado warning as well. For at least the next couple of minutes. But again, I'm trying to just check with the National Weather Service to see if we are going to be expanding the warning on off to the east. If you're watching from Scottsburg down to Underwood along I-65, you just got a severe thunderstorm warning, which tells me we're likely going to drop that tornado warning at 1:15, which is in just about a minute or so, and go ahead, and that's exactly what they just did. We're no longer seeing that tight rotation that prompted the tornado warning out there, but it's still a very sufficient wind maker, so damaging wind gusts are going to continue to be possible with this storm as it moves on off to the east. Again, Scottsburg, Underwood, Austin, stretching all the way out to Lexington and Hardy Lake. You now have that severe thunderstorm warning. Even though you're not seeing anything right now, this is a very quick mover and is a very prolific wind maker here. So it's going to continue to produce quite a bit of wind as it continues to push on off to the east, as well as lightning and torrential downpours. But at this time, we're not seeing any rotation on the radar. So we're going to go ahead and send you back to programming, and we'll hop back in as necessary and if there's another tornado warning. For now, we'll get you back to programming.